Hi there, everybody. I'm Amber Delight Beck, known as Perki Beck, which was my first nickname given to me when I was a kid. It's super late right now, but I wasn't tired, so I wanted to do a video about being in the Army, especially basic training. And I was 190 pounds when I signed up. I had to lose 10 pounds in order to go to basic training, in order to swear in at MEPS in Salt Lake City. They put us in a hotel out there. I think it was the Red Lion. We stayed there for one night, and then they flew us out to South Carolina. I think we had a layover in Denver for a couple of hours, and there were several branches of the military in Denver. Like all these different people who were going into basic training were all meeting at the same place. It was interesting because we weren't, there were people in the Navy. There was all sorts of branches there on this layover as they were going east, and I don't think they were going to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, like I was going, but they all happened to be there for that time. Maybe everyone's date for their basic training was starting around the same time or something. I don't know. So then we got into South Carolina and got to our post, and our first space of time for 10 days, we were in this unit. It was like a no-name unit or something, and we just cleaned all day and did some drill and worked on running, our miles so that we could get, past that. I think it was 8 minutes and 40 seconds or somewhere under 9 minutes. Anyways, we had to run an under 9-minute mile. And so that first 10 days kind of helped us work in the South Carolina air, which was actually easier to breathe than Utah. After that 10 days, they didn't have any restrictions on our diet. They served chocolate cake in the mess hall. It was awful. Awful. And, oh my gosh, pancakes and all the bad stuff that you shouldn't be eating. I probably gained everything back that I lost in order just to swear. But that easily would have been recovered, as soon as I got into my company. So after that 10 days, we had gotten issued, I think we got issued our uniforms, our sacks, everything. And so everything was in our big green sacks, our green duffel bags, and a lot of clothes and stuff. And we got on the bus, we boarded the bus, and the drill sergeant started yelling, "Put your faces down! Get your faces down in your sacks now! Don't look at me!" And they swear, "Don't even look at me!" And we put our face down. I'm like, "Are we serious?" I was like, is this really happening? Are they going to joke and say, "Just kidding," But no, really, they were that's their tactic. They were just scaring the crap out of you. If that's not what you're used to, it was scary. And some people may have grown up with parents like that, so they're like, no big deal. But to me, I was like, oh, crap. So I looked down, and then I'd hear the drill sergeant yelling because somebody didn't take it seriously. They just must have lifted their head and looked at him. "Don't ever look at me. I said put your face down." And we're in this bus for on the post it was probably honestly less than 10 miles of driving, but we were on that bus for an hour, almost they didn't want us to know where our company was. They just drove all over Fort Jackson so that we would just be kind of disoriented or something. I don't know. We got off and we went to our prospective areas. I was in the Charlie company, and we shared barracks. It was what was it? Both genders were in our company, so we had males and females in all of our companies, and all of our, what do you call them? I can't remember anymore what they're called. Oh man, I'm ridiculous. It was co-ed, that's what I'm trying to say. And we went, September 30th was when I started, and I graduated the 22nd of December. Anyways, so I think that all the people who were married or a teeny bit older, people who were fresh out of high school, 17, went through during summer. But we got to go through during winter, so there was a lot of days where if it was raining, we didn't have to do the hard stuff. We could just polish our boots all day long or something. So I think we had it a little easier than a lot of the younger kids. I was only 21, but for the military, 21 was older. And because I was already a parent, and I was put into the same company with a lot of other parents, there was a lot of dads. I remember there was a lot of dads in there. and there was a few moms in there. But my post had my barracks that I slept in had about 60 bunk beds in it, about 60 different females that slept in there with us. And they weren't all in my what is it, squad. Yeah, they were in Bravo and Delta and stuff. So like all the females, there were two barracks that held the females. So there was 120 females altogether in the entire company. But I think that we had Charlie and it must have been like Delta or something, but I don't remember. And then the barracks next to us were also females, and they had 60 females too. I remember one of the first things was we'd have locker inspections. We had washer and dryer units, a laundromat inside of our bathroom. So we'd go into the bathroom, and to the right would be laundromat. To the left would be mirrors, I think, so you could look and make sure that you looked sharp. You go and stalls, and then you go back further. It was kind of the shape of an H sideways, and you turn left, and there was more stalls for the bathroom, and you turn right, and there was the community showers. There was a point in time, like when you're out there and you're dealing with co-ed and stuff, there's a lot of flirting. There's a lot of I don't know how the military thinks that there isn't going to be people hooking up and stuff, or at least like falling for each other and stuff. But when you realize how emotional some of that stuff gets, I just kind of like, the first couple weeks was really hard because it was like, how do I fit into this? I wanted to be accepted by the males and the females and trying to be cute and stuff, but I was bigger than all the other girls anyways, and all that stuff. But I kind of felt like I was a little bit like an outcast or something. And so I found a lot more peace, like hanging out in the barracks, like once we were done with our exercises for the day and stuff, and all the stuff that we learned. My favorite time was just being in the barracks with the girls, because we'd have like meaningful conversations where there weren't any threats or any judgments, or if they wanted to try to take you home and sleep with you or something. And the sad part was that a lot of those guys that were really flirty and trying to get you to trying to get their hookup on with you and stuff were married. And it was just, I was married at the time. I was going through a rough patch, though. I was trying to create a distance because I was planning to get divorced, but it still wasn't the place I wanted to be to hook up with somebody. So, let me think here. Anyways, so we had laundromat inside of our barracks, and that's when they had those silver packages of surf that looked like candy bars on the outside because it was wrapped with foil. And I remember we had a locker inspection, and I had bought those for my laundry. We had the locker inspection, and the drill sergeant went through everyone's locker, and he went through mine, and I had taken all my like pods out of the box and just like stacked them nicely in my closet. What do you call it? Shelf. Oh my gosh. So when he got to my closet, he saw all these silver wrapped things, and he's like, "What is this? Haas, what is this?" That was my last name back then. "Haas, what is this?" And I was, maybe I didn't appreciate authority, or maybe I just didn't take it seriously or something, but I was like, "It's a candy bar, drill sergeant," And so he like rips it open, like just like in a really frantic way, and just like rips it open, and he sees that it's tied. It's a laundry thing, and he's like, "Haas, elevate your feet." And I had to go and put my feet up on these end lockers that were these end drawers that we had on each bunk bed. Had an end drawer on both sides, one for each person that shared the bunk. So he made me elevate my feet, like it was like probably 2.5 feet above ground, and then I had to do push-ups. He made me do push-ups because I was trying to be funny, but also at the same time I was kind of like undermining his authority or something. So I can see why like it was a little bit funny. Let's see what else. Okay, so I had a couple of friends that on Sundays they didn't want to do the shoe polishing or do like whatever everything else was. So I remember them saying, "Hey, let's go to a Jewish ceremony." And I don't believe any of us were Jewish. I think we were all Christians, but I think they wanted to go because one of them had found out that they serve wine for their mass. So they convinced me to go. So we all went to this Jewish ceremony, and we were the only ones in the chapel that was being used. And the ministers for the ceremony, they were singing, and we were doing kind of stuff, singing, and then they let us have a Dixie cup full of wine. And I remember they would tell us, well, if you guys want more wine, there's more here if you want some. And so I think that the girls might have known that would have been a possible option for them. So I think that's why they wanted to go to that. I'm going to close this window because I'm like super freezing right now. The air's coming in so cold. And that was really fun. Oh man, the same girls would go hide and smoke, and you're not allowed to smoke in basic training. And I don't know where they got their cigarettes. You would have to sneak it. They'd have to let you buy it at the PX, and they don't sell that stuff to basic trainees. So I just thought it was weird. How'd you get the cigarettes? And they'd like hide it. I didn't smoke them. I don't love smoking, so like that was never an issue for me. But these guys figured out how to do all that stuff. They're like rebellious, but they were so fun to be around too. Like they were life of the party kind of girls and stuff. Just really fun to hang out with. Another time I was going through basic training, so through December, like right up to almost Christmas time. So that means we were there for Thanksgiving when nobody got to go home through Thanksgiving. That wasn't like one of the holidays, I guess, or maybe it just wasn't like a most meaningful holiday or something. So we did basic training there, but it was such a chill day. Like Thanksgiving in basic training, we got to watch Saving Private Ryan. We just got to polish our boots all day long. I don't think we had any cleaning chores. And then we had this huge, our dinner that night was huge. They had everything. They had lobster, they had steak, they had shrimp. And usually you got 10 minutes to eat. And here, that day we got 30 minutes to eat. And it was everything. Like they had pie, they had cake, they had everything you would ever want. Like better than some people have ever eaten in their lives on Thanksgiving. It was like incredible. So that was really fun. In December, it was our drill sergeant's birthday. And I had somehow found out, I think I might have looked in his office to see where he was, and he wasn't there, and I just caught a glimpse that there was a birthday something coming up. And so me and my friend, I don't know if I can say names, it's been so long ago, but my friend Bonita, we went and got him a card for his birthday, and we snuck it and sat it on his desk and stuff. And he came to his office and he found it, and it's fraternizing. Like he was like, he could get in super big trouble if any of the authorities knew that people were trying to celebrate his birthday, that were trainee, So he saw the card and it said, "Happy birthday, Drill Sergeant Shaw," and stuff. And he comes storming out of his office, "Who gave me this card? Who gave me this card?" And all that stuff. And I don't think anybody ratted us out because I think all of us agreed that we wanted to give him. I think several of the girls signed it, and so we were excited that he found it. And who was responsible for this? And since nobody would like rat each other out about who it was, he made us all get down and do push-ups. And actually, you know what, now that I think about it, it seems like he told me to elevate my feet. So maybe at some point there was some way he found out. Maybe I signed my name. I don't know. I can't remember. I really can't. But I think he said, elevate your feet, Hawes. And so I went and put my feet up. It seems like that's what happened, was I elevated my feet. I did. I think it took a while for somebody to come clean, but we ended up doing push-ups. And while we were doing push-ups, we were like, happy birthday to you. We were doing push-ups. Happy birthday, drill sergeant. And he laughed, but after we were done singing it from doing push-ups and stuff, then he let us up and we were cool. Like, everything was cool. Another situation that was really crazy was when we first got there. The drill sergeant was like, F, 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 F. I'm from Utah. Like, that's not common for me to hear the F word so much. And I think that he had just gotten disciplined. Like, not like any kind of like court martial or anything like that, but I think he had gotten disciplined for being aggressive with one of the girls. Like, not mean, but like singling her out and yelling at her, I think, and I think that it's changed since then. Like, I think back in the day you could have gotten away with that, but because of all the rights movements and stuff that have happened, I think that they're not to single someone out and yell at them and like belittle them, like singled out. I don't know if that's true or not, just my thought. Anyways, he had gotten in a little bit of heat for something like that. And so he sat down he had us all the girls in the barracks sit down, and he's like, is there anything that I'm doing that's bothering anyone? Is anything I'm doing offending you guys and stuff? And I raised my hand, and I'm like, drill sergeant, I never heard the F word being used so many times in one sentence in my life. And he's like, does my F words offend you, Hawes? And I wasn't going, yeah, I already said what I was going to say. And there was a girl named Ledesma, and she's like, drill sergeant, it's not like we've never heard those words before. Totally like excusing the language. So it didn't lighten up too much from there. He still was kind of, it seemed like it was a little bit better, but it still seemed like it was like, not that I expected anything. I didn't expect to, that in the military I expected that was going to be the life, that you're going to hear yelling and swearing and all of that good stuff. So I had another drill sergeant that was like, he was a cute 5-foot sized a drill sergeant, and he was so good at singing all the jodies. Like, all the songs, like he would do, what is it called? 757 coming out of the sky, or it's taking off like a rocket ship or something. Can't remember. Roll, gotta roll. Something like, he'd sing it and you could hear the soul in his voice, and it made you just want to go and run, be glad that you're running with him so you could sing alongside with him because he had this soul and stuff. The drill sergeant Shaw, the one that, put us, made us do push-ups for his birthday card. He was one of the people, the soldiers in Black Hawk down, and his helicopter was one of them that went down, and he had plates or something. I think he had some kind of a soldered plates going up through his spine, so he couldn't run, he had to walk. But there was some kind of like something to do with like a recognition or something of him, what he did and stuff. But there was a lot of really cool things. I didn't have really good upper body strength. Like, we went up to this tower. It was like 3 stories high, and in the middle of it was a net, like a square with a hole, and underneath the hole was a net. And you're supposed to grab a hold of the rope and go from one side of this 3rd story thing where the hole was and swing across it and get to the other side. And my upper body strength was really weak. Like, I didn't have that kind of muscle, and I was heavy. Like, after the entirety of basic training, I had gotten down to 160 pounds, but I was 180. That's, I mean, like, even for guys, that's kind of sometimes a hard weight to carry and stuff. Um, so I did a swing and I fell in the net, and it was scary because I was looking down at probably 2.5 stories down in the net, and just I could see, like, if that had been a real life situation, there wouldn't have been a net. I'd have been dead, and it was because I was a wimp. That was really fun. I remember learning hand-to-hand combat, and my match was a guy. Like, my physical strength match, as far as like my body strength for wrestling and that kind of stuff, was matched to a guy. He was thin, but he wasn't scrawny. You know, he was just, and I felt really good that I was a match to that, because I was like, yeah, at least I was strong a little bit in that department. You know, not strong enough to swing myself across on a vine or whatever, but I was strong like guts and stuff. You know, like, I don't know. And I remember we had to fight with them, and we were matched. Like, he couldn't get me down, I couldn't get him down. Like, he was like probably 6'2". He's probably like the very same build as my ex-spouse, who's like 6'2" and 155 pounds, 160 pounds. It's not a skinny, it's not a scrawny, and it's not a teeny person. Like, it's a really good sized person. And this guy wasn't a wimp. He was like, he seemed to be pretty strong, and I just felt really good that he couldn't get me down. And maybe he was just trying to be nice because I was a girl, but I don't think so. Like, my thighs, I don't think so. But then the next partner in the same hand-to-hand combat session was a girl, and I remember I did get her down. It wasn't super easy, but I did get her down. And as soon as I laid her down on the ground, she covered her face with her hands and said, "Please don't hurt me." And I was like, oh my gosh, you think I was going to hurt you? I would never hurt you. I'm like, you know, I would be a horrible enemy, like, on the combat lines, because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt you? Which is funny, because, like, when I got to my first permanent duty station, I had, like, butch short brown hair and stuff, and then I had, like, this really cute comb-over thing. It was kind of shaggy looking. It was a really cute haircut. It was short. And when I got to the permanent duty station, the people, like the captain, who was a veterinarian, and the other soldiers, they thought I was a mean girl. Like, they thought I was, like, hear me roarish kind of girl, and I'm not. I'm like a pussycat. Like, I just wouldn't hurt anyone. AIT was a different story. That was a weird scenario. And maybe I should save that for another video. I think I'm going to. I'll split that into another video. But that was basic training. That was basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina in 2002. And that was what we did. The way things ran. It was fun. Some of my stories that I took with me that were memorable. So there you have it. Oh, I have one more. Let me tell you one more, because this is really funny. There was a drill sergeant, Rodriguez. He had the biggest smile ever. Actually, it kind of turns into two stories. So we did this where they have the wall that's 10 feet high, and everyone's supposed to be able to get up and over it. And it's hard to do because it's just so high up, and it's not made for, like, it's made for you to think, how are you going to get through this? So I got to the top somehow, like friends, people, other comrades helping me get it to the top. I got to the top, and there was one more guy after myself. And this guy decided that he was going to, so I had my arm down. I'm like holding my arm down like this, down across the wall. I got my arm down like this, and he grabs it and he reaches it, and he decides that he was gonna try to put his feet up over the edge like this, and then like do like some kind of sit up so he can be like that, and then jump down. Well, it didn't work out that way. He went like this, so I'm holding him, and his legs are up to the wall like this, and his back's against the wall like this, like so he's upside down. These are his legs, and his hand is somewhere middle ranged. And my hand was like stuck where his crotch was, and I couldn't help him. What he had to do was undo his plan, like take his legs down, walk down, and get off of the wall like that, and then have to figure out a way to use his strength to pull himself up to the top of the wall. And so for like 2 minutes, I was seriously sitting there holding his hand while he was upside down on the wall, waiting for him to figure out how to solve the way his direction of how he was going to come up, because he was the last one. There wasn't any there wasn't anyone there down below helping push him up. He had to get himself around somehow. So I think the people from on the other side had to climb up, because I just did not have that good arm strength, again back to that arm strength thing, to pull him up to where he needed to be. So a guy had to get back up on the top that had already crossed over, had to get up onto the top and then reach down and help him get to kind of was a bad direction. Anyways, to help him get over the wall. Well, while I was stuck there with my hand like at his crotch and everything, while I was trying to rethink how he was gonna do this, I look over and I see Drill Sergeant Rodriguez, and he's got the biggest smile, and he's like, "Hey, Hawes, how you doing?" like giving me this, because he knew I was super uncomfortable. "How you doing today, Hawes?" While my hand was stuck in this guy's crotch. So that was funny. It was a really funny time. But then, okay, so Drill Sergeant Rodriguez. The next time we went on this night hike thing, it was kind of replicating if we were in Vietnam or something, and at night we would be or some war scene, not just particularly Vietnam, any scene. There was a car on fire out in the distance. It was dark outside. There was coverage of trees and bushes and stuff like that, so we had to stay down low, no flashlights, no lights, no anything like that. We were supposed to stay quiet in our groups. And so in our groups, and I'm marching, and I'm at the end of the line, and then I got the smell of cologne, like a really strong Latino cologne. And he stops, we're stopped, and we're all kind of taking shelter. We're down, staying out of view from, because there were other companies doing the same thing. If they would have caught us, they would fire on us, not for real fire on us, but fire on us to call us out and say, "Hey, you guys are found," kind of thing. We didn't. The point was just to not get found. So I'm at the end, and we're all hiding, taking cover behind some trees and bushes. And Drill Sergeant Rodriguez, he's dressed up like a soldier, but he reeks of his cologne. And I know it's him. I know it's him because it's we're not allowed to have cologne on while we're in basic training. Plus, when he's talking, he had these big, massive teeth, and he would just talk with those big, massive teeth. And he's like, "So, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure what's going on," kind of thing. He's like, where do you think we're going to go next, kind of thing, or whatever. I'm like, "I don't know where we're going to go next," because nobody had, people were discussing up front, and the drill sergeant leading us at the time was actually one of the female drill sergeants from one of the other companies, and she was leading us. So then he gets closer and listens to what they're saying and stuff, and then you hear this boom, 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 he just gets up and darts off into the dark, and the drill sergeant yells, "What was that? Who was that? Who was that?" And I think what they were trying to do was replicate that if there was a spy in your group, to be mindful of that or something. And I was like, "It was Drill Sergeant Rodriguez. I could tell by his cologne," kind of thing. I didn't know it was a drill. I thought it was just really weird that he was asking me what we were doing, because I was a soldier and he was a drill sergeant. I knew who it was immediately, but and then those teeth almost glowed in the dark, so you couldn't even like you would know it was him. If anyone else had seen him, they would have been like, oh, you know. So it was just kind of funny. I think that was like a failed attempt to try to get us to think about spies and note acknowledge them and like pay attention to um who's in your team and that kind of stuff. So that was that. That was such a funny time. So, all right. So, that was basic training. That was what I experienced. Those were the biggest stories that stuck out to me that I really wanted to share. And I actually went over my time limit. I was hoping to make it a short thing, but then I realized there was so many more stories. I mean, it was like 10 weeks of basic training. So trying to put it all in 30 minutes, I mean, I could keep going for real, um, but I'll let you go. These were the best ones, I think, for the night. So you guys have a good night. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. That's okay. And hit subscribe. Subscribe. It's like 2:45 now. So you guys have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.